Are you attractive? And I'm not talking about physical beauty, although we are going to talk about physical beauty a little bit in this video, but are you the type of person who attracts people to you or repels people from you? That's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to share with you some of the qualities that people possess that really attract us to them and why. Because I feel like if you understand the whys, it helps you to remember the lessons. So let's jump in. So whenever we think about attractiveness, we automatically think about beauty. And as much as we would like to believe that looks don't matter, that beauty doesn't matter, it simply does. Our looks and the way that we kind of take care of our appearance says a lot about us. You can walk into a room and you could probably scan the whole room and pick out the most beautiful person in the room, right? Beauty just naturally kind of grabs our attention. But even the most beautiful man or woman in the room can be unattractive. They can possess qualities about themselves that don't attract people to them, but actually repel people from them. So why do looks matter? The reason that looks matter is because when we look at somebody, and this happens almost instantaneously, whenever we look at somebody, we make certain observations about them and the way that they choose to represent themselves physically. And we take those observations about their appearance and we make judgments about their character, or we make assumptions about the type of person that they are. And we all do it. It doesn't mean that you're judgmental. I mean, maybe it does a little bit, but for a lot of us, it's a safety precaution. I mean, for a lot of women and children, you know, we make a lot of assumptions about somebody based on their appearance. A good example of that is when you see somebody who's really, really physically fit, you know, muscles and veins popping out everywhere. First thing you probably think is that they obviously care about their body image. They probably value health and fitness. They are definitely disciplined, which by the way is a very attractive quality, and they're probably consistent, right? You don't think, wow, they're probably a slob, they're probably lazy, they're probably unmotivated, you know, or a couch potato or something like that. Those aren't the things that you think of when you see somebody who's physically fit. The same goes for somebody who's wearing like a sharp business attire. Again, you think disciplined, hardworking, intelligent. They probably possess, you know, skills of some sort, right? But again, you're not thinking that they're lazy, that they're floundering around in life, or that they're incapable, or that they're uneducated or undisciplined. So those are just a couple of examples of, you know, how we can look at somebody and automatically make judgments about them. And I feel like I had to throw in those examples because otherwise somebody would be like, oh my God, you're so judgmental, even though we all are. But it's just something that we naturally do without even thinking about it. But even something like simple hygiene or daily maintenance, like brushing your teeth or brushing your hair or getting the sleep out of your eyes, applying makeup, even like matching the buckle of your belt to your handbag or matching your top to your shoes or something like that. Whenever we see somebody who practices self-care and good hygiene, we automatically attribute positive qualities to them. Whether we are right or wrong, we naturally do that. So that's why looks matter when it comes to attracting people to ourselves, because most people are attracted to other people who possess qualities of cleanliness, of good hygiene, and just overall kind of self-care, because those things relay messages of good health. Good health both physically and mentally. Another thing that most people find very attractive is positive energy. Our energy introduces us before we even walk into a room. Whenever we come into a room, we can either occupy space in a positive way or a negative way, and people are always attracted to positive energy. It's the reason why there's that saying that says positive attracts, negative repels. And we all know people who either come into the room and have positive energy or come into the room and have negative energy. You know, a good example of this is, and I don't watch these shows very often, I'm just not much of a TV watcher, but this last spring break, me and my daughter were home a lot, and so we decided to watch The Bachelor. And we've done this in the past. Well, we'll just watch a whole season because we've never watched any of them. We don't know who's won or anything like that. So we'll just watch past seasons. But we decided to watch the latest one, and it was still going on at the moment. And it was so much fun. We had so much fun watching it. But when you see those ladies get out of the car and introduce themselves to the bachelor, they bring a certain energy. Right away, you can tell a lot about the type of person that they are. One thing, and I feel like I nailed it too, the second that Maria, I don't know if you've watched this, but the second that Maria introduced herself to the bachelor in the little clip that they showed of her, like before she introduced herself or as she was introducing, I don't remember. I just knew right away. I was like, she is going to be so fun. She's going to have such a cool vibe about her. She's going to be easygoing. And I was so right. And I loved her all the way up until the end. I was so upset whenever they let her go. But then also, like in the house, you can tell automatically which women in the house are confident, which ones are insecure, which ones are jealous, which ones are mean-spirited. I mean, you can just tell by the way that they occupy the space in the room. But we all know people in our lives who fit into one or the other categories, either the positive energy category or the negative energy category. You can tell the second that they walk into a room. You know that positive person is always going to come in with a good attitude, with a smile, being very maybe entertaining, or, you know, they keep the conversation going, or they're just pleasant. They just have pleasantries, you know, they're just pleasant to be around. And then when that negative person walks in the room, it's almost like you could feel it. You can feel the energy come down. Their conversations are going to be heavy. They're going to be negative. They're going to be serious. They might even insult you in some way. And their conversations are going to be very one-sided, right? It's all going to be about how terrible their life is. They're not going to bring anything positive to the room. You can actually even watch people in either category interact with other people, but there's definitely a difference. And, you know, think about whenever the phone rings and you look at the caller ID, whenever it's the positive person, you're more inclined to want to pick up the phone because you know it's going to be light. You know you're probably going to have a good laugh. You know the conversation's going to flow. When the negative person energy calls and you look at the caller ID, you almost have to prepare yourself for a conversation like that. Am I ready for this? Am I ready for the heaviness, for the seriousness? Am I ready for the insults that, you know, might be thrown in my direction? Anyway, there's a clear difference in the way that we feel around people who possess positive energy versus people who possess negative energy. And the reason that we are attracted to people who possess positive energy is because energy is contagious. And for most of us, the goal of all goals, the ultimate goal in life is happiness. And people who have positive energy, we automatically assume that they possess a certain level of happiness or that they prioritize happiness. And that is what we want to be around because it's contagious. Okay, we all know that confidence is attractive, but why is confidence attractive? And by the way, confidence does not have to be loud. As a matter of fact, quiet confidence is far more attractive than loud confidence. Loud confidence almost feels like arrogance, right? And nobody is attractive to people who are arrogant. But why is confidence so attractive? The reason that confidence is so attractive is because when we meet somebody who's confident, we automatically, again, make conclusions about them. We automatically assume that they've accepted themselves, that they value themselves, that they see their self-worth and they won't settle. We also assume that they can kind of handle whatever life throws at them. And the reason that's so attractive to most of us is because that's what most of us strive for, right? We strive for that self-assuredness. We strive for that acceptance and to value ourselves in a way that we won't, you know, settle for less or, you know, to have anything thrown in our direction, anything that life can throw in our direction. We want to be able to handle it. We think that those qualities are attractive, therefore, we want to be around people like that because that's what we strive for. On top of it, whenever we meet somebody who's genuinely confident and who is genuinely self-assured, typically, if not always, those people also make the people around them feel confident and self-assured. I mean, they just have a way of, you know, they're really quick to compliment. They are always patting you on the back. They're always encouraging you. They're going to be your cheerleader. They're always celebrating, you know, your accomplishments. with you. They always validate and appreciate you. Confident people are never, ever the ones who are picking you apart. They're never the ones who are trying to draw attention to your weaknesses or point out your flaws or highlight, your mistakes and your failures. Rest assured that if you have somebody in your life like that, they are not confident. As a matter of fact, your confidence holds a mirror to them and magnifies all their inadequacies, and they feel threatened by your confidence. So if you have somebody in your life like that who's always trying to pick you apart, point out your flaws, trying to make everybody else see you in a negative light, just rest assured those people are not confident. As a matter of fact, those are the people who are very insecure, because confident people would never, ever behave like that. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about, and then I'm probably just going to save, because there's several more, but I'm going to save them for another video, because I feel like this video is going to be too long, and I want you to remember some of these, So anyway, the last one that I want to talk about is be interested, not interesting, if you want to attract people. I mean, definitely be interesting. Interesting people always attract other people, but also be interested in what other people have to say and what other people want to talk about. Make no mistake about it. We're all attracted to interesting people, obviously. But if you're only interesting, then it's a turnoff. For instance, if you're in a conversation with somebody and they're very interesting and they have so much to say and it's such a fun conversation, but then the second it becomes your turn to talk, suddenly they're completely uninterested. They have other things to do. They're kind of bored with the conversation. They want to let you go. Once they have gotten everything off their chest and they have talked about everything they want to talk about, the second, the attention turns to you, they're completely uninterested. Those people are unattractive to most of us because we don't feel valued around them. We realize that it's all about them, that they want us to know about their lives, but they have no interest in our lives whatsoever. And people like to be around other people who make them feel good about themselves. We've all been in a situation also where you look at the caller ID and you see that type of person is calling, and you kind of have to prepare yourself once again. It's exhausting. Am I ready to be in a conversation where I'm only going to be a listener, that the second that I start talking about anything that's going on in my life, they become completely uninterested? It's almost as if they're saying without saying, I am completely uninterested in any input that you might have, in anything that might be going on in your life, or anything that you have to say, And so typically we're not attracted to people like that because everybody wants to be heard. So if every time you get into a conversation with a person like that, you end up leaving the conversation feeling exhausted and also very rejected, and nobody is attracted to those feelings. Nobody wants to feel exhausted and rejected. So instead of behaving like that, whenever you do get in a conversation with somebody, make sure that you act interested in their life. Make sure you're responding to some of the things that they tell you. If they tell you about things that, they're planning for this summer or something like that, and instead of responding to what they said about their plans for the summer, you just go on with your plans for the summer, then they feel like what they say doesn't matter. And that's not attractive. Most people are attracted to people who they think find them, somewhat interesting, right? So whenever you're in a conversation with somebody, always try to ask yourself, am I showing interest, in what they have to say, or am I only trying to be interesting? So that is all I have for you today. Y'all, you guys let me know if you like this style of video from me. These are my favorite videos to make. As well, I don't know if you know or not, but I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with a degree in psychology, and I just love anything psychology related, anything that has to do with personalities and behavior and things of that nature. I read this meme one time, and it says, someone out there knows a version of you that does not exist anymore. And I feel like that's definitely true for me, because I feel like I'm always a work in progress. And I've said that before. I feel like there's always room for growth. Sometimes I think back God, why did I act like that? Why was I that way at that time? I'm 50 years old now, so hopefully there's been a lot of positive growth over the years. I think that there has. And so I love making videos like this, but I also love like researching for videos like this. Even though most of this stuff I already knew, it's always good to kind of refresh your mind about certain things. I feel like we all have room to grow. I know I do. And I always want to keep growing in a positive way. And so anyway, I just love learning about this stuff, and I like sharing it, with other people. And so let me know if you like videos like this. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate your time. I hope that you are having a fantastic weekend, and hopefully I will see you back here next week.